Hello, my name is Hannah Culbertson, and this is my presentation over the Violence Against Women Act of 1994. What is it? It was enacted in 1994 by Congress. It addressed concerns regarding violent crimes against women such as domestic violence, sexual assault, dating violence, and stalking. It set higher penalties for offenders, mandated restitutions to victims, and authorized grants to state, local, and tribal law enforcement entities to better handle these cases. For facts, it was one of the first federal acts that addressed violence against women. It established the Office of Violence Against Women within the Department of Justice. It was signed into law by President Bill Clinton in 1994, and it has been reauthorized in the years 2000, 2005, 2013, and 2022. Relations to the course. In Unit 1, Week 1, we read and discussed Plato's Analogy of Socrates, and in that it discussed the dangers of ignorance and how it holds back societies from growing and learning from their wrongdoings. I think personally the 1994 compared to when the 19th Amendment was put into law was quite a big amount of time. It was a significant gap, and I think still that ignorance was there of why are we not protecting women? This shouldn't be a private household matter between husband and wife. This should be a national issue. And that's also regarding anybody. Anybody deserves the safety, and that is what the government is meant to do, is to protect us. And by not having federal funding or any kind of hotlines, helplines for victims, I think is a disservice to women. In Unit 1, Week 2, the class discussed the Constitution and the amendments. One of the first major steps for women's right was the ratification of the 19th Amendment in 1920. And I believe this set forth the original Violence Against Women Act, because without this amendment, we would have never received this. And then over to the right side, there is a group of suffragettes that are holding a sign that I thought was a good quote to add to this. Why was the Violence Against Women Act included in our class? I believe it was included to demonstrate some of the main principles our government abides by, such as protection of speech, protesting, and the ultimate power lying within the people. If women did not speak up, if victims did not come forward and express the need for help and change in the government, I don't believe we would have gotten this act in 1994. Maybe in the future, but not in 1994. I also believe it was used to show the changes and progress our nation has made since the Declaration of Independence. We discussed in a couple units back the whole idea of slavery, and we read a couple different perspectives on that, and I think this kind of ties into that growth that we are seeing within our country since the original Declaration, because in the Declaration of Independence it was all men are created equally, and unfortunately women were not included in that sentence. Why is Violence Against Women Act important? It proposed the idea that any sort of violence against women is a national issue rather than a private one. It provided federal funding and grants to organizations such as hotlines, housing, and crisis centers. It increased punishments for violent acts committed against women and provided further training for law enforcement. And it has since then reduced domestic violence rates. And my questions to the class are, do you think the federal government should have enacted this act earlier than 1994? And do you believe any new issues have become prominent after the enactment of Violence Against Women Act? Here are my citations, and thank you so much for listening to me.